Lord have mercy. Yo, what's poppin', Realest one? I don't have to really break this down to people, but for the sake of this video, I'm gonna put this out here anyway. If you are dealing with mental health and you worried about embarrassment or feeling corny for reaching out, no matter what age you are, put all that to the side and at least consider it, please. Please. And if you know somebody who's dealing with it, let them know they're not alone. All right? Nobody who is dealing with mental health issues is alone. People need to understand that. There's nothing wrong. You lose absolutely nothing from at least considering talking to somebody. Now, last week in Brazil, a woman by the name Erica de Souza Vieira Nunes, if I'm pronouncing that name right, what she did was now, she woke up Tuesday morning, got her uncle together, got him dressed, 68 years old, 68-year-old uncle, put his clothes on, put him in his wheelchair, called a taxi. The taxi pulls up, boom, rolls him in his wheelchair up to the taxi. They get in the taxi, take off, bang, pull up at the bank. With the help of the taxi driver, gets him out of the taxi, puts him back in his wheelchair. Now, people were looking around because something wasn't right about these two. It was evident. They just couldn't put their finger on it. One guy went as far as to stop, go back, and walk up to the woman and talk to her. I guess he might have been asking her some questions because he noticed something wasn't right. That's what the footage later showed. Huh? Footage also showed them rolling into the bank, the lobby, the elevator. Then they finally get up to the teller, rolled him up to the teller because the goal here now was to get a loan from the bank, $3,400, $3,400, right? But she needed the uncle's signature. She needed her 68-year-old uncle's signature. Now, here's where things really got funny style. The teller, just like the man before and anybody else who got a glimpse at these two, felt something was off. The lady was looking crazy and they couldn't figure out what was going on with the uncle. The lady's exact words: "Uncle, are you listening? You need to sign the loan contract. If you don't, there's no way because I can't sign for you. Sign so you don't give me any more headaches. I can't take it anymore." Right? She went as far as putting the pen in the man's hand between his fingers, trying to help him sign. Right? The man was motionless. He was slumped over in the chair, and the teller started to ask questions. What the lady said to the teller was, "He's just like that. He doesn't say anything." So what they do, because they figure, yeah, it's time to get somebody in here now, they get the authorities involved, right? They end up finding out that not only was this man deceased, but he had actually been deceased. Hmm? They ask her questions, and she swears she knew that this man was not dead. Even before she brought him to the bank, she didn't know. She couldn't even tell that this man, her uncle, 68 now, she didn't know he was deceased, fam. That's what she told these people. So they did only what they could, and they did an autopsy. They found out that this man had died between 11:30 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. local time that Tuesday. Cause of death being determined as respiratory aspiration of stomach contents and heart failure. The police chief said that the man's blood had pooled within his vessels, and it suggested that he didn't die seated but rather laying down. End up locking this woman up. She ends up facing charges of theft by way of fraud and desecration of a corpse. Her attorney says that she suffered from mental health issues and might have experienced a mental breakdown sometime during that day. They said that she undergoes psychological treatment and takes prescribed medications in her everyday life. And also that I believe she was having a breakdown at that moment because of the medications. They said she appeared visibly disturbed If that ain't new, that right there show ain't no news. If you seen that picture, but it's not to make fun of. You know what I'm saying? But could you imagine? Could you imagine? The only questions left for me are like, in her state of mind, what was she gonna do with almost $4,000? What could she had possibly have purchased with that type of money in her hand? And what was she gonna do with that man's body? How long do you think she could have kept up this charade? At what point could somebody have found out? If they not have, what if they ain't go to the bank at all? Who and how long would it have taken for somebody to find out that this man was deceased and she was just rolling around with him, fam? And probably the spookiest question: how does a man 68 years old in his condition, obviously in need of someone to watch over him, end up in the care of someone who is in obvious need of care themselves? So that's another thing to take away from this. Check on your people, fam. Check on your folks. Check on your peeps. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is ever exempt from mental health. We all have our down days. For some people, it comes and it goes. They can shake it off and they get right back to themselves. They get a little blue and they can shake it off and get right back to their normal self. But for some, it goes way beyond that and it can get dark to where it affects their actions, to where they're doing something they don't even understand what they were doing, to where they can even be committing a crime. If this story right here does not prove to be an example of that, I don't know what else to say. R.I.P. the uncle. R.I.P. the uncle. And it's definitely a good thing that they, you know, took her in and they figure out what to do with her. Because, like I said, man, how you just had this woman watching over this man, how she even get access to the man to even be able to just roll him around like that? Somebody should have been watching her. That's crazy. Again, I say, if you're somebody in need of just talking to somebody, man, like, just please. Because if mental health, if that's not something that's treated and caught on to, it's no telling how far it could take a person. You understand? But hey, realest one, leave your thoughts, comments, peace, blessings. I'm out.